Let us begin. And I am happy to welcome everybody here. And of course, we're all missing Srila Madhusudan Maharaj so much, but he has such an example of this particular meeting, and we can just continue in that same line, and a very important topic for us to discuss. So we'll start with Bandhan prayers. Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chaksur and Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, so with this special topic, I and others have researched something that our gurus have given us to explain, to answer this question, why the Lord comes in the form of the deity. And so we can all benefit greatly to hear how they explain this. And get back to here. And we hope that everyone who has some inspiration about this will get a chance to share that. The first thing that I found is from Affectionate Guidance. And in chapter 21, there's been some discussion regarding why we chant in evening artik, Shri Gaura Saraswati, in addition to Shri Kiba Jai Artik, which is about Mahaprabhu. And as everyone is very aware, Mahaprabhu is coming for the purpose of distributing mercy. His intention is to save all of the jiva souls and bring us back to home. And so sometimes it's necessary to come in a form that we can already relate to. And that is the short answer. Now, Srila Gurudev explains in Affectionate Guidance about this this Artik song that Srila Guru Maharaj composed. In our Saraswat Sampradaya, the disciples and grand disciples of Srila Saraswati Thakur, you will find in almost every ashram that the Shri Vigrahas are Shri Shri Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu together on one throne. We offer Artik to the one throne of Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu, but that specific kind of Artik song had not previously been composed. Srila Guru Maharaj considered that Arati means the glorification of the deities, but a specific kirtan for the glorification of Shri Shri Radha Krishna together with Mahaprabhu is not found anywhere. Srila Guru Maharaj therefore composed Sri Saraswati Arti, where he explained the mood of our deities and why the deities are in this particular way on the Singhasan of our mat. So many of Srila Guru Maharaj's godbrothers appreciated this composition, and some started singing it regularly, and some did not. This was the situation. Srila Guru Maharaj was not by nature eager to push others to chant the Artik song he had composed. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur composed Jai Jai Gaurachandra Artik Shobha, and Srila Guru Maharaj did not want to disturb the mood of the devotees who chant this in their mats everywhere. Although Srila Guru Maharaj did not want to cross over what had been organized already by the whole of the Saraswat Sampradaya, he nonetheless wanted to give the full conception regarding our deities. And then later he says, the purport of Sri Saraswat Arati gives full Krishna consciousness to us. It perfectly explains the mood of Radha Govinda and the mood of Mahaprabhu. Included there is some description of their pastimes and why they have manifested in this form of the deities. Such clarification is given in this song. So every night we are singing this, and it's very good for us to always understand in our common tongue, our mother tongue, the meaning of the kirtans that we're singing as we learn them in Bengali or Sanskrit. And so this particular song, I think everybody has a copy of the kirtan guide. And I was noticing in this song, particularly verses 3, 6, 7, and 8 are directly explaining the mood of Radha and Krishna and Mahaprabhu, exactly like Srila Gurudev is telling us. So next time you sing the song or you have the opportunity, definitely think in this mood that Guru Maharaj is providing to us, an understanding of who are Radha and Krishna and who is Sri Gauranga, and how they are standing on our altars in the form of a deity. So this will help us to understand why the Lord comes in the form of the deity. The short answer is because it helps us to get that mercy. Does anybody have something they want to bring up right now? There is another article that I'll put the link to it in the chat, and it's from a newsletter called Counterpoint, an essay of Thakur Bhaktivinoda that he wrote in 1871, and it is such an advanced article. I admit that I must read this article. He's speaking about Lord Jagannath from a historical viewpoint and about the temple in Jagannath Puri specifically, and very high scholastic explanations of who is Lord Jagannath. And he discusses it for scholars who may have great doubts. He even mentions the way atheists will see the deity, and he talks about those who will argue about whether the absolute Lord can appear in a material form or whether he cannot. And if he cannot, this must be an idol. But this article, I must admit that I read about one paragraph a week, and I read it 10 times to try to follow him. But I will put the link to this article, and I encourage everybody to get this very thorough understanding. And of course, coming from Thakur Bhaktivinoda, it brings us back to this point of we are trying to worship the Lord, and he is allowing us. So if anybody does have a question or comment, please just speak up. But I'll just read a little bit of the excerpts from this article. He's also including the ancient history and mentions that every Hindu knows this very well. And he says, we are inclined to believe that Puri was considered sacred even at the time when the Puranas were written. We are sure that Puri is not so old as Benares and Gaya, of which repeated mention is made in all the Puranas and the Mahabharata, yet it is not a place of recent origin created after the commencement of the Christian era. We cannot believe that the institution originated in pure stupidity of the religious sentiment. So he's helping us to understand that this is not some idols that were just recently made for some reason. We therefore cannot, like the fanatics, of the formless class consider all idols as unsacred and hold the worship of a formless deity, identifying him with something like space and eternity, to be the natural worship of God. We go so far as to maintain that the worshiper of the spiritual God is an idol, is infinitely superior to a mere believer in a formless existence who considers that formlessness is one of the attributes of the Spirit. So this is getting very much into higher levels of understanding. But when that when at that time when they would use the word idol, it didn't mean a false idol. Today, if we hear somebody say they're worshiping false idols, we think of it as false. And of course, the Bible, we've all heard the story from the Bible of those who they melted their gold and made a calf and began to worship that. So it can be quite alarming. But at the time Thakur Bhaktivinoda is writing this, the word idol could mean deity, the same as the deity. It means the form. Now, this final little excerpt that I'll read, Thakur Bhaktivinoda points out, when the soul worships, the mind also finds an employment. So in other words, when the Jiva soul is trying to do the right thing and progress toward the Lord by worshiping, that the mind is also at work. And he says, the mind can never conceive of anything that is not material. It is therefore exceedingly difficult for man in his present state to separate himself from idolatry. What man is obliged to do is his lot, and hence we must put off the meaning of idolatry to some other process. In other words, our identity at this time is deeply in material things. We can relate to matter. And he mentions earlier too about those who think that God is something like space or eternity. And so if we contemplate whether or not there is a God, if so, do I want to worship him? What is my relationship with him? We always bring it down to our current materialistic level. Our mind can't conceive at this point of those topics which are purely spiritual. It is beyond us, even more than even like an ant cannot conceive of what a human being is. It's beyond them. So when he says, when the soul worships, the mind also finds an employment. So this shows that the Lord coming in the form of the deity is to engage us, to take us far from the concept, yes, I believe there is a God, that you see space. Some people think that nature, this is God, but it's very impersonal. And the deity, as we all know, when we accept worship of the deity, we can even cook something or offer a flower. It can be so simple, and the soul is making progress because of this. So it is for mercy that the Lord comes in the form of a deity. Now, Sri Hari Prabhu, do you have something that you would like?
Yes, I do. I was given a mission today and I'll try to fulfill it. And even though English is not my mother language, I'm sorry for the poor accent. I'll try my best. It's a real privilege to be here with all devotees. So Dhanavad Pranams to you all, especially, of course, to Kumkum Deity, which is one of those living examples of how a devotional life dedicated to true masters can bring someone to such a state of bliss and happiness, and always trying to serve the Vaishnavas. So I was hearing you say about mercy, which is, of course, the main thing that shows up. And now you use this example of an ant trying to understand what a human being is. And we do it ourselves when we're trying to explain a kid something that it's not possible for the kid to understand in our terms. So we go down a little bit and we get on our knees and try to level. And we do the same with our dogs, for instance. We cannot be talking to a dog like in a very intellectual way. So we go fetch, and it's okay. And in this kind of beautiful and unconditional love, the Supreme Lord gives us so many ways for us to deal with him, like through the scriptures, through the sadhus, through the guru, through the mantra, Mahamantra especially, of course. The Lord is revealing himself through the Puranas, in the Mahabharata, and he's always there. So I've been reading some things during this week because Maharaj asked me to be here and gave me this theme. So I always find this kind of repeating mantra, which is the Lord is giving himself to us, and one of the ways in which he does that is through his appearance as the Deity, as the Murti. So I got a few things here which are very interesting. It's not very long. There is an explanation that Srila Guru Maharaj is giving. It was given in the February 1st, 1982. So it's a long time ago. And the one who's asking the questions actually is Srila Goswami Maharaj. So it's a very special moment here. And the question is about, the first question is about, we hearing the expression Guru, Gauranga, Gandharva, and Giridhari. And Srila Guru Maharaj, he says, Guru, Gauranga, Gandharva, Giridhari, that is the name given by Guru Maharaj. He's talking about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, of course, of the Mayapur deities. The Guru is there, the guide, and the Gauranga. Guru is the potency guide, and Gauranga, the Lord himself as Guru. And Gandharva, which can draw the best, maximum rasa. Gandharva, this is Gandharva, the one who draws the maximum rasa. And Govinda Sundara, that is the source of everything, around whom the whole is existing, unplaying, and he is the source of all rasa. And the concern and the gist of the whole campaign, the holder, the support of the infinite existence, that is rasa, ecstatic aspect. And the drowning of that ecstasy aspect, and both combined, distributing themselves, Gauranga. And who has come to make the world known of this fact? Guru. And then Srila Goswami Maharaj asks, so in Archana, which is the deity worship, is there also Guru Gauranga in the beginning stages? So he's asking about the worship of deities in general and how it's related. And Srila Guru Maharaj answers, according to one's own capacity and stage, he will try to see. And the awakenment of his inner self, he will go on with Archana. The Goswami Gana also expresses Vigraha, but our Prabhupada, he's talking again about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, told that cannot be told, actually, that cannot be called Archana proper. That was Bhajana. They are serving. Archana means through mantra. We hope through this process that one day we shall come to the direct position of service. The medium, archana means medium, and bhajana means direct service. When there was a question, why the Goswamis, they install Sri Murtis there in Vrindavana? Name was sufficient. They are taking name, but they have encouraged archana, which is in generally found with the Ramanuja section. Mahaprabhu has not given much stress on archanam, but nama bhajana. And our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, answered. So the question was pretty much, why there is this archana, this deity worship, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given so much stress on the Nama Sankirtana and not that much stress on worshipping deities and things like that. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is answering, and he says, archana installed for others, recommended, but they themselves engage themselves in direct service. That is bhajana. So this is pretty much like that. The Goswamis, they were in a stage where they are always connected. They are chanting Hare Krishna, they are chanting the Mahamantra, and they are always connected. They are like, they are Mahaprabhu friends. They are there all the time. But they do it as an example, because by doing archana, one gets closer to the Lord. One gets this personal feeling, this personal connection. So it's important for everyone. So they do it as an example. Soul to super soul, not through the medium of any mental system, to purify one's own mind. And the liberated souls and the Swarupa Siddha souls, they are found to go on with archana, and that should not be considered as archana mere, but that is bhajana, direct service. Hare Krishna. So he's saying that little by little, beginning with archana and really understanding that the deity is not a mere idol, but it's the Lord himself, one can go on and on and on and develop this personal relationship. It's pretty much the same we try to do with the relationship with our Gurudev. We try to understand Gurudev as the Lord himself, through his mercy, appearing in front of us and giving us this wonderful chance of connection through loving service. So this is what Guru Maharaj is talking about, the stages, beginning with worship and going on and on and on until we have a real direct relationship. So if anyone has a question to Srimati Kumkum Didi, that is good. Otherwise, I have two more little texts here. Kumkum Didi, what do you want to do?
Please continue, Prabhu.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one. The next one is by Srila Gurudeva, Srila Govinda Maharaj. Also from the Divine Guidance. And he's telling the story of Mukunda. And he's going to get there about how we must see the deities. So he goes. When Mahaprabhu experienced Mahabhava for 7 days in Srivas Pandit's house, the different devotees saw him in different forms. Devotees of Ramachandra saw Mahaprabhu as Ramachandra. Devotees of Vishnu saw him as Vishnu. Others saw him in the form of Nrsimhadev. And yet others saw him as different incarnations of Vishnu. In that gathering, Mahaprabhu restricted Mukunda Prabhu. I shall not give you darshan. Mukunda remained outside the house weeping. Seeing him crying, the devotees reported to Mahaprabhu, Mukunda is very sad and he wants to end his life by drowning in the river Ganges. He does not want to maintain his body if he cannot see your form. He is continually crying outside. Mukunda sent a message with the devotees asking Mahaprabhu, when shall I see your form? Mahaprabhu answered, after crores of births, which means like 10 million births, he will be able to see me. So after 10 million births, Mukunda would be able to see Mahaprabhu. Hearing this, Mukunda became very happy and began dancing outside the entrance. Oh, after only 10 million births, I will again see Mahaprabhu. Therefore, I have no problem. 10 millions of births I can tolerate to again have his darshan. Hearing that, Mahaprabhu was happy and said, now he has already crossed those crores of births and he can see me. He can come immediately. So the devotees called Mukunda. Oh, Mukunda, come, Mahaprabhu is calling you. But Mukunda said, Mahaprabhu said, after 10 million births, then how can I go there now? If I go now, I will not be able to see the real form of Mahaprabhu. Only after 10 million births shall I be able to see, but not now. If I see him now, that will not be really seeing him. It will be illusion. So why shall I go there? I do not want to go there now. Real vision, this is Govinda Maharaj commenting, real vision is necessary, and that is the main thing. Otherwise, seeing the deity, the Dham, or anything else is only an exercise of the eye. It is not actual vision, and we shall not gain real benefit from that. But Mahaprabhu said, now his 10 millions of births have gone, and he can come and see me. Mukunda very much chastised himself that he had done wrong, and so had caused Mahaprabhu to at first refuse him his entrance. Mahaprabhu then showed his real form to him. Then again, Govinda Maharaj commenting, the main thing is that without devotion and transcendental knowledge, we can neither see the real Vrindavan Dham nor the real Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Lila, name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. All these are transcendental. Therefore, we cannot see them with our mundane eyes. That is the main thing. So, as usual, this is wonderfully explained by Srila Gurudeva, Srila Govinda Maharaj,
Yes.
and he quotes that, this eye exercise. So
Yes.
I cannot even imagine how much darshan through her life Srimati Kumkum Deity has received from so many deities all around the world, from the old days where Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada was calling the Lord to live in that deities that he installed in the United States, and then Europe and India with Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev everywhere. So you probably got a wonderful share of darshan from these deities. Maybe you can talk a little bit about it for us.
You are correct, of course, and it's startling to think how Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, was so clear in the importance of introducing the name and the form, as you were just reading, but approaching with devotion. So he's showing us in the same way the name is not just something that these lips and tongue are speaking. They're not just those sounds, but they are with devotion. And for us, of course, under the shelter of such a person who is carrying us along, then we will make progress to understand this on a purely transcendental level, and also with the deity. So almost anyone, even an atheist who will see the form of the deities who are nicely taken care of, may say something like, oh, that is beautiful, but it's not for our eye exercise. I remember the very first time I I went to the Holy Dham, Navadvip Dham, for the darshan of Srila Guru Maharaj. And when I went to the Artiks and I noticed things such as the difference between the way they are dressed and the way, just small differences, and what I had seen in ISKCON for so many years. And that was just a curiosity. But then when I got the darshan of Srila Guru Maharaj and he spoke, and that was such an experience, and he touched my heart so much. And then the next time I went to Arctic, I was taken aback. And for a moment, I thought, this is who you are. And I don't see like that now, but I remember very profound experience of, because he had put some kind of transcendental understanding in me. So that is what we hope to nurture in ourselves, by following them, and they will show us that it is not an eye exercise. The deity is our goal to worship. This is who we are wanting to be worshiping. And yes, there were many deities. For me, the very first was in West Virginia, in New Vrindavan, and it was their installation day. It was a Janmashtami, and this was beyond my understanding. I couldn't imagine anything. Why would there be such a process of bathing these deities while chanting? But somehow or other, with the association of devotees who had been practicing like this longer than me and had had Srila Prabhupada's association, it was just something in the heart that said, this is true beauty, this is true religious experience. And that was also a feeling in the heart. It was not something that I could explain or understand. And then not too long after that, there was an installation of deities in Dallas, Texas. And that also was very engaging. And everyone needed to be completely involved with that. And Srila Prabhupada was there, was present for that installation. And the way he absorbed every single one of us, we felt like we were receiving the mercy of being his hands and legs. It's actually his doing. He is bringing these deities for our benefit so that we can worship them and learn something about who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we can do it in this form of the deities.
That's beautiful. Yeah, for us nowadays, I mean, sometimes I just sit back and think about this affection that we naturally tend to develop if we are near devotees, and how we can take that for granted if we don't pay close attention to what is happening to us. And when I see that point where I think I started, and the point where I'm at now, I can only see miracles happening in all these connections. And the deities, they have a very important meaning in all that, because this taking care of and seeing people taking care of, because when I first got there, for me it was the Seva Ashram in Campos do Jordão. And when I first got there with a friend, we were coming from like some shamanic experiences ourselves. So we had to pick flowers to give to the deities. And for me, it was very difficult to understand back then that the best thing that could happen to a flower in this world, it would be to be offered at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Yes.
So I look back and I laugh. But at that point, it was kind of hard for me to get a glimpse of what was going on, until the moment the arati begins, because then we see that what you were talking about, the beauty and the way that people are taking care of that. And even though it was not my belief back then, I could relate somehow and see, wow, this is some sort of love experience for these people. So there is something there. And
Yes.
we kept going on, we kept going there. I mean, we were somehow attracted, and that guy is my spiritual brother until today. We are very good friends, and he's Govinda Hari Prabhu, who is the official driver in São Paulo when Srila Madhusudana Maharaj was here, when Srila Goswami Maharaj was here, and he's always the official driver in São Paulo. He's a very nice guy, and we were there with that view. Wow, really, we got to pick flowers. What a wonderful life that those flowers have
Yes.
in this world. And I have a little part here from Swami Maharaj Prabhupada as well about that subject. So maybe I can read it right now. What do you say?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it. Is one of the explanations in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the third canto. He goes like, so this is Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. The Lord is transcendental to our mundane senses. He cannot be seen with our present eyes, nor can be heard with our present ears. To the degree that we have entered into the service of the Lord, or to the proportion to which our lives are freed from sins, we can perceive the Lord. But even though we are not free from sins, the Lord is kind enough to allow us the facility of seeing Him as in His Archamurtis in the temple. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore He is able to accept our service by presentation of His Archa form. No one, therefore, should foolishly think the archa in the temple. The archa is the murti, for those who don't know this word. We should not foolishly think the archa is in the temple to be an idol. Such an archa murti is not an idol, but the Lord Himself. And to the proportion to which one is freed from sins, he is able to know the significance of the archa murti. The guidance of a pure devotee is therefore always required. Again, the guidance of a pure devotee is therefore always required. Because we don't have the eyes, but someone does.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear someone who has the eyes talking about it, because it opens our eyes a little bit more, to
Yes.
say.
Yes. They
So
put
now,
their, they encourage us by being so attractive that we have some faith, at least in our heart. We have a desire to hear them and to follow them and to accept what they are saying. And then by their mercy, our actual faith just gets deeper and deeper, and we begin to see through their conception.
yes, and just by being around, I remember one of these days I was translating Srila Madhusudana Maharaj in a public place, and he was answering questions. And as I was trying to think in Portuguese to answer to translate the answer, I begin to remember a lot of quotes from different places, like the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, talking about what a devotee is. And he was answering, and I was feeling like that. Why, this is a devotee. The answer he's given, and the life he lives, and the way he behaves, and the way he is, the way he feels things. This is a devotee. This guy that is being talked about in those scriptures. So it's amazing to get the chance to be around and to render some insignificant service. It's
Yes.
already it's already life changing.
Yes. The view that
So it
we are seeing
always
through the view that we are seeing through the telescope is becoming clearer and clearer because of the addition of the explanations by such Vaishnavas.
Yeah, and the living example, no, the lives they live, amazing. So devotees from all around the world, questions for Srimati Kumkum Didi?
I will get this link to the article that was in the Counterpoint newsletter, and I hope that everyone will preserve the link so that you can
Yeah.
begin to worship this article.
Mhm. Oh, wonderful. The link is there, the chat box. And now we will also put the link for that video of Srila Sridhar Maharaj answering Srila Goswami Maharaj.
Okay.
Yes, the article by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur here.
And do not be discouraged if it takes you many, many times of reading to understand. For one thing, it's a different audience than we are, and that Srila Guru Maharaj even, and then Srila Gurudev, they're speaking to, people who are 100 and something years later in Kali Yuga. So the way they speak is a little different, and so we can reflect back on that. And sometimes he's so liberal, Thakur Bhaktivinoda, in trying to assist. And some of his people that he was preaching to were the governors in the British Raj, and he was often speaking in a way that attracted them very much. And so there's a lot to reflect on when we read his what he has written. I is there somebody with a question or a
I
comment?
have something. Yes. If Dandavats. Hare Krishna. Sorry about my driving here. So my question would be, many times I heard, or I'm thinking that I understood that when I'm standing in the temple in front of the altar, that God is looking at me, and of course, and I'm looking at the deity. What should my best attitude be? Is it because, like, how would one behave?
It's true that our gurus, especially Srila Guru Maharaj, would emphasize that we want to be seen by the deity. So, opposite of the eye exercise, we're not going to the temple to see the deity and to say, oh, yes, they look like this, I like this color on them, things like that. We want to be seen by the deity. That's why we go. And that's a very sweet mood. And your servant has come here. Like, I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier. If you will engage me in your service, here I am. We can also be showing, and I have this box of vegetables or these flowers. I hope that you will like them. So yes, we want to be seen by the deity.
And she was also asking about the way to behave, the proper way to behave. I think we always hear that we must not cause any kind of disturbance. We always have to keep the environment harmonic. So by the way we talk, by the way we dress, by the way we do anything there, we have to avoid at all costs cause any sort of disturbance. anywhere, but especially in the temple.
It's so true. We want to be noticed. Sometimes we see that our guru has some project in mind, or there's something that they may want, and we want their eyes to land on us and say, oh, I can ask this person. And so we want to be well behaved, we want to be reliable, we want to be somebody that they would think of as engaging. There's another question from Venu Gita. She says, Dandavat, dear devotees, I have a question about dependence on sin. And the question is that we are all not ideal. We will still make mistakes, and with that, sins. What is the essence of the idea of not being dependent on sins then? I'm trying to understand this. And there's also somebody knocking at my door, so excuse if I'm a little distracted. Dependence on sin. It's true, it's very true. We are prone to make mistake, as Srila Guru Maharaj says so eloquently. But the fact that we have both the tendency to err as well as the desire to be perfect gives us the opportunity to receive Guru's grace. So we don't hate the fact that we tend to make mistakes and even sin. What is the essence of the idea of not being dependent on sins? The essence of the not being dependent on sins. I'm not certain that I understand what the question is, but we're not dependent on sins.
Let me tell me, Dandavat, I want to ask what is the idea of to be independent of the sin? As I understand, maybe the translation was different. So I heard that you were talking about that it could be possible to be independent of sin, and I was thinking how it works.
Well, we're not dependent on sins. We can be independent of sins. That is our goal. But we're not. Do you know the word thwart? There's an English word that means our efforts will be ruined. So that will not happen for us. Our sins, if we commit them because of old habits, because it is our nature still, that will not ruin anything for us.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I guess I understand. Yes.
What I've heard many times throughout the years is that we should not give so much stress on that, the negative side. I will not do that. I will not do that. Instead, we associate with the devotees. We do our seva the best way we can. We try to serve the gurus, especially, and follow their instructions. And as we develop the taste for the service, naturally, and it's an individual process, but naturally, we will not be attracted to those sinful activities anymore, because there are such a higher taste and a sweeter taste by doing the proper things that we should be doing here. It will make us way happier, because when we sin is because we are trying to find some sort of happiness, but we are mistaken sense gratification with happiness, and they are completely different things, really. And in that way, we are trying to get happiness from something that will bring us unhappiness ultimately. So when we change that And we do that via connection with devotees and service and reading and developing good habits, we will see that we are happier doing the right thing. So in that way, we get some sort of independence from sins because we do not need them anymore. We do not depend on that to get some taste, some happiness, that which is with what we are looking for ultimately.
Yes. And by the grace of our gurus and the Vaishnavas, it is not such hard work that we lose our attraction to sinful activities, but we will notice sometimes by a surprise to ourselves. We simply don't care so much. Like we'll see something and just realize I don't want to do that, do I? And it may be a surprise, but that is proof that our gurus are pulling us.
Any other questions? Dear devotees around the world, don't be shy. We still have a few minutes. And the wonderful company of Kumkum Deity.
I'm so grateful for this company that I am getting. I'm benefiting here.
If no one has a question, I can ask a question. So please forgive my English. My English is not perfect, but I will try. I will try to express my question. So sometimes we can see that some devotees are worshipping the home deities, and they are doing this with heart. And but probably my heart is made of stone. I cannot understand. I cannot feel how it's actually why it's real. Why they are doing it's every day, 3 times a day, offering their food, and so my question is: so is it because they have some kind of taste of like worshiping these home deities, or we need just to start to do it and then the taste will come?
Well, it may start with that attempt, just because of hearing from the guru and learning from the temples, perhaps how to make the offerings and everything. But it's very difficult to keep that up with no taste at all. So it all depends on sincerity. When we try to do anything with some sincerity, then we are rewarded with the taste is developing. The taste for that service is developing. It's beginning to feel like, of course, I should offer before I eat something. I didn't create this banana. I didn't create it, nor could I. That's not possible. So most religions give some acknowledgement to how the Lord is supplying us with everything that we require, but the conception of then let me first offer it to him is a little bit unique. And I think that's why devotees following this develop some taste for worshiping in this way. And also knowing that their deity is very kind and not strict, and the rules are not harsh. It's very pleasant. And if you like to grow flowers, then naturally you want to pick out the ones you'll be thinking, this one, if I plant this one, it would be so nice when I can offer it. And like that, because it is personal. Just like anyone that you love, you want to give something that they would truly like. Does someone else want to speak on this? It's a very good question because it's close to home for everybody. Even if we're out and we can't, have the right plates, we can't make a little offering and bow down. Sometimes we have to just take this, but humbly and sincerely we can ask the Lord to please accept it. So this is a very good question because it's very personal for everyone.
And as it's been said many times here today, it's all about mercy. So it's actually the Lord giving us the opportunity of render some service because of his mercy, and he's opening the door. And if we enter with this heart, we will find ourselves in a much, much better place, of course.
Yeah. It's a great blessing to have this Sangha, even though everyone is digitized, as far as I can tell. The soul is present. Srila Gurudev would say that when we send an email, be careful what you say in the email, because Krishna is in the ether. He can read the emails. And now that is so much more amplified. We like this technology that can make us feel that, with video and sound and everything, and people that we also know in other forms and other places. So we're very grateful for this kind of Sangha.
Another miracle, the Zoom.
It is. That's Krishna's grace. Any wrap-up words then?
I think this should come through you, right? Please.
Well, I do have one other thing that I'd like to share that I found that Srila Prabhupada spoke informally about this question about who are the deities, why do we worship the Lord in this form? And there's a little teeny bit of a challenge in it. And so it also shows how much how powerful he was, and so potent in delivering to all of us who were raised in the type of culture that we hear from this one guest, and how he smashed all of the challenges coming from that culture easily by his own devotion. So this was an evening darshan, and the guest is new. And to the translators, this says excerpt 4. So this guest, this woman says, do you think you could explain to me about the deities and how it's different from idol worship? Because no one has been able to explain that to my understanding. And Prabhupada says, idol means you're imaginary, and deity is not imaginary. Deity is installed by the authorized person, and it is worshipped according to authorized methods. So it is not idol. Idol worship, you imagine something, and you, some doll or idol, and do in your own way. That is idol worship. And Pusta Krishna Prabhu says, she's saying that, but it's manufactured, it's made or graven. And Prabhupada answers, that doesn't matter, but it is made according to the Vedic principles. Just like in the Vedas, Krishna's form is described, Venum Quatnantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham. That is from Brahma Samhita 5:30. Krishna is playing on his flute, Venum Kvanantam. His eyes are like the petals of the lotus flower. So if you follow the description, then it is coming from the Vedic literature or Vedic knowledge. It is not that an artistic way of imagining some idol, the eyes are like this and he must play a flute. It is not like that. And then the same guest says, that's because it came from scriptures instead of from men's minds. And Prabhupada answers, yes, therefore it is authorized. And he gives this example, which we always loved. When you take anything from the statute book, that is law. And if you manufacture something, that is not law. Just like, I'll give you one very good example. Just like in your front of your house, there is U.S. letterbox. So another man, he sees that the box is in front of his house. Why shall I go so far? Let me manufacture a box here. So he's posting. After 6 months, he'll see all these letters are lying there. And one who is posting that authorized box, his letter is going to thousands and thousands of miles away. So you cannot imitate. If you imitate U.S. letterbox in front of your house and post your letters, it will never go. It will remain there. So that's a very easy way for us to understand that we're not just going to make something up and say this is a deity, this is God. All right. Once again, my great appreciation for the darshan of all of these Vaishnavas.
And I have to say, Jaya Srimati Kumkum Didi ki Jai.
Cannot understand, but you are kind. I will accept your kindness. All right.
The same problem with Maharaj. He doesn't understand as well.
His understanding is much deeper, though.
Yeah.
All right. I believe he will be back next week. Yay. I will attend. I will be part of the audience. Okay. Hari, Hari, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.